Hello, I'm Abhirami Kumar. Today, my partner Keertthana and I are going to indulge in a discussion about illusory truth effect, heuristics, and polarization on the inside of curbing dystopian technology and social dilemma. This is a very interesting topic, and I hope we can make it exciting as possible. So, Keertthana, do you believe in anything that you read? For instance, you come across a fact that the moon is made of cheese. And the second fact is like a rock from the moon has the same density as a cheddar cheese. Which one would you believe?
I think the second one. See, I believe the fact or the statement that you just said because it makes sense for me and it is a plausible statement. If I come across the fact that the rock in the moon and the cheese both share the same density from various sources, eventually I will perceive it as a truth. So I think this is the perfect example we can give for the illusory truth effect.
I mean, of course, I agree to your justification. But what surprised me more is how quickly you responded to my question. I mean, with less time, you made a quick decision with limited amount of information. It's like, it's everything to do with heuristics because we live a fast-paced life and it's not always possible to carefully think and make a decision or deliberate over hundreds of choices, but I think by incorporating heuristics as like a shortcut to form judgments quickly, making our life easy. What do you think?
Yeah, that's what my thought too. I mean, for example, if I'm going to a restaurant in a hurry and I have to choose a food from the menu, I'll quickly choose the food that I'm familiar with instead of taking too much time to weigh out the options. Why I choose that? Because I have a preset thought in mind how the food will be. So I'll go for easy options. But Abhi, do you think it is possible when you're in a group with people with different perspective? Do you think is it possible to make a quick decision?
No, I think that's when polarization happens. See, polarization could be simply explained as two school of thoughts. Okay, so it is considered as a let's say it's a key feature to many modern societies, and it is potentially linked to conflicts, alienation, and even societal tension. Like the splitting of a society into two distinct groups that are different ends of a spectrum, like how do you say, like atheists and the people who believe in God.
So yeah, I agree with that too. Now that we have discussed about all these concepts, now we have to talk about the main topic, insight on curbing dystopian technology and social dilemma. How these three concepts have an effect on dystopian technology and social dilemma. What do you think?
Hmm. I strongly agree that these three social phenomenon has a role in creating a dystopian technology, which eventually leads to social dilemma. Um, Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, we can't say, but usually it's the negative side because we are, impacted by the dystopian technology, where we are negatively affected by the evolution of new technology. See, the technology has a power to do anything, but the most concerning action would be towards people. I mean, us, where they would mold our perspectives with what they can, show us. For example, COVID-19. See, when COVID-19, when the COVID-19 just shook the whole world when the first person got infected by the virus in early 2020. Since it's a novel disease, there were endless misinformation and conspiracy theories popping up in various online platforms and social networks, which after a point of time people started to perceive it as truth. I mean, that's where the illusory truth effect play a role. The novelty of the disease, which basically let people fall into, like, every information that comes by their way without reconsidering or introspecting about the authenticity of it.
Yeah, just like how you said, I agree with all these social phenomena have an effect on dystopian technology and social dilemma. I particularly think that mostly heuristics has an important role in creating dystopian technologies. Because according to heuristic, people tend to take the impulsive decisions according to their familiarity of the situation with limited information or with their preset mind, like how we said before. So problem may occur when people need to take a decision like believing in certain news or information when it comes to, for example, like our current situation about vaccines. Now, directly or indirectly, we are using our preset mind to engage with the same type of content in our social media. That's where the algorithm is created. Algorithm is created by tracking our likes and dislikes in social media, create a convincing videos and pictures to make us believe in some created content. This will, affect a person's perspective on something. What do you think?
Since you spoke about algorithm, I would like to comment on it because it has actually become a social dilemma. Like social dilemma, as in like the word suggests, dilemma. It describes a very complicated decision in which our immediate interest, like our interest, conflicts with the collective interest. If I may put it that way, because this improved technology, which has the power to read and understand our interest, it actually plays a key role in reinforcing our preset thoughts. In psychology they call them as confirmation bias. It kind of like it's like validating like your preset thoughts that they read that this is what you like, and then it kind of reinforces it. What do you think?
And adding to that, also, we, as part of the social dilemma created by the dystopian technology, we are exposed to information from countless platforms, which builds us a preset thought and leading to social polarization, where people have two schools of thoughts, like we discussed before, on the information they gain from these platforms. So their own thoughts or the perception they are having is restricting them from understanding the real truth, which now bring us back to the social dilemma we all are in. Now,
Experience.
I mean, do you have any suggestion to curb the situation?
Kirtana, I think in order to give suggestion, we need to identify our fundamental problems. Like, here it's the constant growth of technology, which basically leads to social dilemma. See, technological improvement, it is inevitable, but it is possible to have regulations. Government must impose regulations in using social networks. I mean, which eliminates, by eliminating fake pages and groups that involves in the dissemination of misinformation, which basically builds the perspective towards certain issues. What do you think? What would be your
In,
suggestion?
in my opinion, I think one of the suggestions to prevent this situation is by shifting our perception. So, what I'm trying to say is, as mentioned in polarization, we always think something from our perception. When a conflict arises, or in our case, dystopian technology, we need to think from other people's view instead of blindly believing in a fact based on our perception. So, yeah.
True. I mean, that's I really, I mean, agree to that. So I think by incorporating all this, I think we can curb and we can limit the impact of further advancement of technology. I mean, so I think that's what we believe. And thank you.
Thank you.